Okay, so those of you who are following my videos know I got an A5 Air scooter recently, kick scooter, and the first thing I did was when I got it out of the box is I spun the back wheel and the front wheel to see how long they roll. And I noticed the front wheel rolls pretty much forever. So as you see right here, it just keeps going and going and going. And I barely even touched it. That's the front wheel. Now here's the back wheel. The back wheel doesn't do that for some reason. It's like binded up or something. So what I ended up doing today is I have a couple Allen wrenches for this size right here that the wheel takes, and I went ahead and loosened them because I remember on my previous kick scooter, when the wheels binded up, it was something to do with with that area, I guess. And they were on so tight. I don't know if that's normal, but I literally had to take like the Allen wrench, and then at the end of the Allen wrench, I put a water bottle and used that as leverage to like really get it loose because I couldn't do it under my own strength. So like basically extending the tool so I could have leverage on it. And finally it got loose and I'm like, holy cow, that was on really tight, but I don't know if that's normal or not. But well, when I loosened the wheel like that, I noticed that it was spinning freely. And I noticed a couple other things along with that. So if you listen, this is the back wheel, okay? So I've been working on this back wheel. Okay, so it sounds normal. Now listen when I loosen it, it changes. When I tighten it, it like kind of goes back up in pitch again. But I notice when it's up in pitch like that, that's when it has that drag to it. So I've been sitting here trying to figure out where should I have this, like how tight should I have this? Because tightening it means the wheel is kind of not so free, but loosening it means the wheel can wobble, and also it could maybe loosen further from vibrations and all that, but then the wheel spins freely. So I'm trying to sit here and find the right balance between loose enough but tight enough. So loose enough to where there's no binding, but tight enough to where the wheel's not like flopping everywhere. See, this is kind of where it's good as far as the binding, or whatever the term would be. But when I have it at this point, I can wiggle the wheel just a tiny bit. It doesn't really, I feel it a little bit, and it kind of makes a clinking sound. So here's another clip where I had it tightened. So that's what it normally sounds like. And then you could hear it change right there as I loosened it. And you hear it change again as I tighten it. So for some reason, when it has that hollow sound, whatever reason that is, it rolls better. So my question, because I have no idea how to find this info, like I tried, but I don't know how to put it into words. So do any of you experts know if it's okay to leave the nuts a little loose so that your wheel's not binding? Because when it's tight to the point where you can't tighten it anymore, like I would think that's the best thing to do. But then, of course, that for some reason, the wheel doesn't spin freely, which means it's going to be harder to use the scooter. But yeah, is it safe to loosen these bolts? Like, I'm talking almost a whole turn. So it's a lot. I mean, 3/4 of a turn. So say I'm starting from straight up like this. If I turn it this far, then facing like that way, like 3/4 of a turn, that seems to be about where I would want it as far as the binding. Maybe slightly further, maybe like this. but then the nuts feel they don't feel loose, but will they rattle loose? I don't want to use Loctite if I don't have to or stuff like that because I don't know how to work with that stuff. I guess I'm just going to have to find out for myself, really. But does anyone have experience with this stuff? Like, are you not supposed to tighten these bolts all the way? Because I didn't put this together. I bought this used and someone else did it before me. And I mean, it was on there. And the wheel was, as you see, that wheel was like not happy. And it looks almost like the wheel is hitting the carpet, but it's not. It's floating above the carpet. So you can see that wheel is like, nope, I don't want to spin. Oh, this is interesting. So when I loosen this, notice the wheel frees up. So it's kind of stuck there. When I loosen this, the wheel starts spinning. So you can see it was like binded. So yeah, this is what it loosened. And then it just rolls on forever and ever. I have like a whole minute of this clip where it just rolls. And I'm just going to stop it here. So, well, no, I'll just keep talking over it. Yeah. Any advice? Any thoughts? Can I have those nuts loosened? Are they going to come loose and like the wheel falls apart one day because I didn't tighten it? Like, where's the middle ground here? I feel like I need some kind of, I don't know, maybe a middle ground where it's tight enough, but I want to naturally get it to the point where it rolls as freely as possible, because then, that's less effort for me to have to kick scooter all the time or kick it all the time, right? Isn't that how that works? It's still rolling. It doesn't want to stop. So any advice, like, should I get it tight enough here's what I did already. I got it tight enough to the point where the wheel didn't have any play in it. And yeah, that was an improvement, but it's still binded. Like, it was still, you could see the wheel slowing down. So I basically have to loosen it to the point where the wheel does have a little bit of play and you can rock it back and forth. You don't really see it or feel it much. You just kind of hear it clanking back and forth. I have a clip of that somewhere, and I thought I had it in here. Let me see. I'm actually in my video editor right now. Okay, so right here is an example of what it sounds like if I have it loose enough to where I like it, but then it has the play. So it's not much, but it's enough to it's a little scary. And if I tighten it, it's a little better. Tighten it a little bit more. Just barely there. Tighten it a little bit more. Gone. But when I roll it, you can see that resistance again, which isn't as bad. It's nowhere near as bad as it was in the beginning. Compare it. This is the beginning. This is before I touched it. So that's a big improvement. So, should I just leave it where it has no play and it's still an improvement, but it's so tempting to just have it to where it has no drag at all? What do you guys think?